Okay, recording now. All right, you guys. So take a minute, get yourself nice and comfy. All right. So center yourself on your cushion. Let your hands come to rest, palms facing up. Let your eyes gently close. Let your body begin to relax. And before you move into your breath, just take some time, scan your body, notice where you are. Take a moment to do whatever movements feel best, most natural. And then begin, once you find a place of comfort, to move into your breath. So you'll begin by taking a long, deep inhale, starting from the low belly, feeling that expansion and that opening. Letting that inhale come up to the solar plexus and then finally up behind the heart underneath the collarbone. And then when you're ready, as you exhale, gently let the breath recede first from behind the heart, then from the solar plexus, and then all the way down to the low belly, gently squeezing up and in. Just bring yourself into awareness as you breathe, taking the inhale from the bottom, flowing to the top, and then taking the exhale and flowing from the top, going down to the bottom. And just gently begin to find that rhythm, that inhale and that exhale. And if your body says yes, and you've made this part of your practice, allow your breath to rest at the top of the inhale so that you can enjoy a moment or two of stillness, of pause before you go back to the inhale and then the exhale. And I want you to take 5 cycles of breath right here. At the end of the 5 cycles of breath, let's bring your hands over your heart, palms over the heart center. We'll begin by singing the sound of ah, then the sound of oh, then the sound of bringing in vibration, bringing in sound. On your 4th breath, please set your intent for your practice today making this an I am statement, something that you most need, something that you most desire. So when you're ready, take a deep inhale. And then when you're ready, gently release your hands, bringing them down to the tops of the thighs. Take another deep inhale, and this time allow your hands to float down. Fingertips are gently resting on the ground. Pausing here. And then one time, take a really deep, full inhale, lengthening all the way out through the fingertips. Big breath of joy. Lengthen all the way out and up, allowing the palms to touch at the top. And then exhale, bringing that energy all the way down to center and allowing the thumbs to rest at the heart point on the sternum. Finding a space of gratitude in the heart. And then gently, slowly release. Hands again come down to the tops of the thighs. Take a moment here. Feel your body, connect into it. It's important that you get a sense of where your body is right now, because at the end, we're going to check in again. And then when you're ready, gently turning the corners of your mouth upward in a smile, eyes softly open. Thank you, you guys, so very, very much. Okay, so, and Barb is here too. Yay, hi Barb. All right, you guys. So here's what I want you to do. This first twist is going to be just through the upper part of the spine, through the thoracic and through the cervical. So thumb, left thumb. I want you to find, so if you need to go back again, find the 11th rib and then just count it back. Find that approximate space on the spine. And let that left thumb just rest there, okay? Remember, this is approximate. It doesn't have to be exact. This is just to get the feeling of where you're actually turning from. Then take that right arm, inhale up, lengthen, okay? Making sure that the hips this time are going to remain facing forward. So they're going to be facing towards your phone or your computer. As you exhale, so you're only moving now through the thoracic spine, through the rib cage, very gently, slowly begin to turn yourself to your left and then gently lower that right arm. Right arm is either going to rest on top of the left thigh or come to the outer edge. So what you might discover is that through the rib cage, if you're not adding the trunk muscles through the lumbar spine, you get this really yummy twist, but it's not super big. So just be present to what's there. So it may only be, I don't know, 5-10 degrees, maybe a little bit more. Beautiful, you guys, that looks awesome. Make sure that the shoulders are relaxed, that the spine stays nice and long so that you can feel that gentle downward pressure through the sits bones. You can feel a lightness through the crown of the head. And just take a moment and notice, how does this type of twist feel for your body? Because we're going to be doing a lot of compare and contrast. And then when you're ready, You're going to take a deep inhale, lengthening again back into that right arm, and gently bring yourself back to center. Float the arm down, and then you're going to take that right thumb and place it where the left thumb was. Bring your left arm down. Okay. And take a deep inhale, lengthen that left arm up. Deep inhale, and then as you exhale, being mindful that you are twisting above the space of your thumb, gently turn yourself towards the right, and then lengthen that left arm down so that it's either resting on top of the thigh or to the outer edge. And breathe. Feel the shoulders relax. Feel the spine grow long. And just breathe. And again, take a moment to notice how this twist feels on this side. And then gently, slowly, when you're ready, lengthen into this left arm, sweeping it back up, coming back to center, and then allowing the left arm to come down. Okay, and just take a moment and notice how that felt through your rib cage. Okay, what we're going to do next is we're going to do the same thing, but we're going to allow this to be more of a full spinal twist. So you can either stay on your little cushion if you're on your cushion, or feel free to come all the way down. This next one, what we're going to do is we're going to lengthen our legs out. I'm going to scoot myself back just a little bit. There we go. Okay, so again, we're going to move to the left first. So what I want you to do is, before we do any kind of movement through the spine, what we're going to do is, instead of having the hips move straight ahead, so straight towards you or straight towards me, what you're going to do is place your hands on the very front of your hip bones, okay? And I want you to shift the hip bones so that this right hip bone comes forward and the left hip bone gets to scoot back just a little bit, okay? All right, so now when you are torso forward, your hips are actually slanted a little bit over to the left, okay? This time, well, you're going to take this left hand and you can either place it to the side or you can place it behind. It all depends on where your body feels most comfortable. So we're doing this so that we can more easily activate into the trunk muscles, okay? So all of these muscles that you've got down here underneath your rib cage, so between your rib cage and your pelvis, these guys need to activate now. So again, you're going to take that right arm, deep inhale. And as you exhale, I want you to feel that low belly draw up and in. So use that core, gently begin to bring yourself over towards the left. Again, you're only going as far as it feels comfortable. And then dropping that right arm down, either on top of the left thigh or to the outer edge. The left hand, which is waving at you right now, is just simply in the back so that it's creating space. So you can either gaze directly ahead, or you can continue the rotation through your neck and continue to rotate a little bit more to the left, coming from the head and the neck, not through the thoracic or the lumbar, okay? And breathe here. And take a moment to observe how this twist feels compared to how it felt when you were using only the thoracic spine. And then gently, slowly release your way out of it. So you'll begin, if your gaze is back towards the left, gaze straight ahead. Then you're going to take a deep inhale, sweep that right arm up, and allow your body to float over. Take a moment and now rearrange the hips so that they are once again, hips are now facing straight ahead. And take a moment to pause and just observe, how did that feel within your body when you engaged all the way down from the pelvis and then let things move over and above? So now we're going to do the other side. So this time what I want you to do is we're going to again start at the pelvis. This time I want you to let the left hip come forward and gently adjust so that the right hip comes back. Okay? All right? And just notice how that feels for your body. And take a moment before we do anything and notice, place your hands back along the lumbar spine and just notice, where's your lumbar spine in relationship to your pelvis. Okay, and you can take that all the way down to the sacrum and notice how it stays, it really does stay pretty stacked. Okay, so this time what I want you to do is, if you want to do something to play, rather than taking your right hand and bringing it behind, take your right hand and place it on the lumbar spine so that you can feel the movement, right, coming from the trunk muscles and then also feeling the movement through the vertebral column. So take a deep inhale, lengthen into that left arm, and then as you exhale, gently twist. And again, when you've gone as far as is comfortable, you're going to drop that left hand on top of the right thigh. Then allow the shoulders to relax as best they can, since you may have your right hand on top of the lumbar spine. And then if your body says yes, continue the twist through the neck by gently continuing to gaze over towards the right. And breathe here. If it's comfortable and you'd like to use that pause at the top of the inhale, please feel free to do so. And notice how engaged the core muscles are, the back muscles are. This is where the twist should be coming from. It should be coming from the muscles. And then when you're ready, if your gaze has been over to the right, gently bring your gaze back to ahead. And then sweep that left arm up and over and bring yourself back. Take a moment to come back to being square through the hips, okay? And just notice how that felt through the trunk of your body, through the center of your body, okay? Notice and ask yourself, did you have a preference? Which way felt better, you guys? Because there's really no right or wrong. Everybody's body is built a little bit differently, so it's really important that you play with what feels good for you. So this next piece, we're going to do a very gentle flexion and extension, okay? So you can either keep your legs wide if that's comfortable for you, or you can do crisscross applesauce and bring your legs across. So again, there's no right or wrong. It's what feels best for you. So it's important here that because we don't have as much flexion and extension through the thoracic spine, that we really come from this lower lumbar spine. So when you begin to fold forward, flexion, you're going to come all the way down here where your legs join your hips, okay? So take a deep inhale, find that length. Fingers can come out just like little spider people. And then you're just going to be able to begin to hinge just a little bit, coming from the hips. And as your body's comfortable with that, you can begin to walk your arms and your hands a little bit further forward. And when you get to a place where that lengthening feels really good, so we're doing this slowly because I want you only to move into the spaces of your body where it feels yummy. Okay. I want you just to breathe. So I was reading a blog the other day by Thomas Myers, who's the gentleman who wrote, he's now 4 editions into Anatomy Train. So he's a very famous manual therapist. And he was talking about the yummy place. And I was like, oh, yay! And he said, please tell your clients only go to where it feels good. And I'm like, yes, go team, I'm on it. All right. If your body says yes, because I had to talk to you long enough so that your body could actually relax into the posture. Your body says, yeah, I'd like to go a little bit further because that feels good and I'd like to experience that good feeling a little bit more. You can continue to lengthen as long as you're coming from that lower lumbar spine. And if you want to play with this, rather than just hinging, take a moment to connect into down where your coccyx is and where your sit bones are, and take a moment and just, without necessarily coming forward anymore, take that super low area and just very gently push down and back, just a little bit. And notice if that changes things for your body. Small movements can make big difference. And then when you're ready, very gently walk the hands up. Okay. Take your time. Come all the way back upright. Good. Take a moment to notice how that feels. And now we're going to move into a little bit of extension. So hands, I'm going to move myself over to the side so that you can see. I'm still in simple cross leg. You can also be Konasana pose, wide-legged pose. Bring your hands behind. Fingers are gently facing forward. And this time what we're going to do in order to support this extension of the spine is that we're going to begin by sliding those inner edges of the shoulder blades just a little bit together. And notice that as you slide those inner edges of the shoulder blades just a little bit together, it helps you lift your heart. So you're not doing anything through the front. You're just creating some space. And now what I want you to do is make sure that you are breathing really deeply, full diaphragmatic breath, so that as you inhale, that low belly is expanding out into the sides, and that all it's doing is encouraging that lumbar spine to float in towards the center of the body a little bit more. So this is extension. And just breathe here. So it's not like you're compressing the lumbar spine. You are focusing on opening through the front of your body and allowing the spine the opportunity to come a little bit more deeply towards the center. And then very gently, very slowly, unsqueeze the shoulder blades. And then gently sit back upright. And just breathe. Okay, so from here, we're going to come into tabletop so that we can practice cat and cow, okay? So the concave curves that we have through the lumbar and the cervical spine are also known as the secondary curves. The curves that are convex, that come down through the sacrum and through the thoracic spine, are known as the primary curves. So when we practice cat and cow, what we're really doing is playing with the different curves that we have within the body. So again, as we begin by moving into cow, so we're going to accentuate the secondary curve, the lumbar curve and the cervical curve. I want you again to focus through the breath and feel the stretch through the abdominal wall, so through the front of the body. And then what we're going to do is we're going to round, so we're going to accentuate the primary curve. So we're going to open as much as we can into the thoracic curve, and then also curl and lengthen so that we can move more deeply in towards the sacrum. It's just a different way to think about cat and cow, so just play with this idea. So we're starting, our fingers are spread wide. We're anchoring from shoulder to wrist. So as we begin to play, Take that deep inhale, feel the belly draw towards, using gravity as an assist. Feel the belly draw towards the floor, and then allow the gaze through the head and the neck to come forward. And we're going to take a couple cycles of breath here. So again, we're not focusing on compressing into the lumbar curve. We're instead focusing on how much opening can we create through the front of the body. And we're just allowing the curve to sink towards the center. And then when you're ready, as you exhale, we're going to reverse that. So now we're going to work into the primary curve. So I want you to feel that curve down through the lowest lumbar, moving into the sacrum so you can get really round. Coccyx is going to come under and slightly up. And now we're moving into flexion through the thoracic spine. So we've already got some curve in this direction through the thoracic spine, but we're going to draw up and in through that low belly to see if we can just feel that opening in between the shoulder blades, down the rib cage, and allow the posterior side of the body to just have a little bit more stretch. And then with the breath, gently feel it rotate back. So we're moving back into the secondary curve now, back into the lumbar curve, back into the cervical curve by drawing that belly as we inhale down and expansively out, allowing the gaze to come straight ahead about 3 to 4 feet. And again, couple cycles of breath right here. And notice that if you have tightness through the front abdominal wall, it's a good thing to explore because this should be a soft belly. And then when you're ready, finding that exhale. Now moving into those primary curves. So gently, really feeling that roundness down in through the sacrum, deep into the coccyx, and allowing the thoracic spine to roll. And this time, allowing the neck to flex. So feel the chin draw up and in. And breathe. And then when you're ready, gently, slowly release that. And come back to what feels like a sense of neutral. Which means that there will be some lumbar curve, there will be some neck curve, you will have some curve through the thoracic, and then also into the sacrum. From here, we're going to release down. So being mindful of where you are within your knees, feel free to keep the hips higher. If knee flexion is not an issue and you'd like to go back hips to heels, please do so. Otherwise, you're going to only go back as far as it feels good, lengthening those arms out wider than the shoulders and allowing the top of the forehead to gently touch the floor. So just a variation of extended child's pose, a little bit more of a puppy pose, but you can do either way. You're going to find that really yummy extension through the back, whether you're in extended child's pose or whether you're up here in a variation of puppy. So just find that space that feels really, really good for you. And breathe. And then gently, slowly, we're going to release that. So what I want you to do is gently come back up so it's a little bit more of a puppy. You're going to keep this right arm long. You're going to turn the palm up through the left hand, and I want you to slide that left arm underneath the hole that you created through the right. Now, here we go, you guys. I want you to very slowly move into this. And it might be that when you're finding it, you bring that left hand, that left thumb back to the spot through the rib cage and feel where you're turning from. And just breathe. And it might be that you don't go all the way down onto the shoulder, because it might be that when you do this very slowly, that it doesn't feel so hot through the spine. It might be that you do slightly less and you find more opening through the thoracic spine and opening to underneath the shoulder blade and in between the shoulder blades. So again, it's up to what your body says. And then gently, slowly release that. Again, the hips are slightly higher. We're not putting any kind of deep flexion into the knees. And now we're going to do the other side. So you're going to take this left hand, keeping it long, right hand turns palm facing up, and you're going to slide across your mat. And again, coming from the upper part of the spine, gently begin to bring yourself in. And as you do this very slowly, your body will definitely talk to you. So allow your body to have a say as to what feels good, and move slowly enough so that as soon as you find that point where the stretch feels yummy, that's where you stop. It's not about finding more extension. It's about finding that place where the stretch feels really good and your body can enjoy the sensation, which means that, guess what? Your mind can enjoy the sensation, and it will make some different chemicals so that you're happier. Go team. And then gently, slowly release. And then one more time, either take that extended child's pose or that extended puppy pose, whichever is the one that feels best for your body. And breathe. Feeling that slow, steady breath, that really yummy movement. Okay, and then very gently, very slowly, I want you to come back to tabletop, come up onto finger pads, and then bring yourself all the way up. So we're going to do something now from the knees. And what we're doing is we're working a little bit with levers. This is a little bit easier to do from the knees than it is to do when we are standing. Okay, and I want you to really feel this movement in through the hips. Okay, so the first thing I want you to do is allow the knees to come together. Place your hands on your hips and just shift your hips over towards the left. And just take a moment and notice if you've got some tightness, oh, la, la, in through these edges of your glute muscles and maybe into the beginning of your tensor fasciae latae. And then come back up. And then now shift over to the right. And take a moment to notice how this feels through the right side. Everybody's a little different. Okay. And breathe. Beautiful, you guys. Let it open. These fascial bits need a little bit more length of time. And then gently come up. Okay. From here, I'm going to back up a little bit more. What we're going to do is, I want you to bring your arms up over your head. Okay. I'm going to wave at you with my right hand. You're going to take your right wrist around, or excuse me, your right hand around your left wrist. And then you're going to bring it up. And check in. Make sure that that's not too much. Okay. Eventually what you want to do is feel it so that The palms go through the center of the head, which stacks over the center of the shoulders. So from here, it's going to be a deep inhale. And as you exhale, you're going to shift your hips over to the left. And then bring your torso over to the right. So lateral flexion. Breathe. This, your lumbar spine is really good at. Okay, thoracic spine is good at it too, to a lesser degree. So our body likes to move sideways, but we don't give it that opportunity. If you want to do a little bit more, the left arm that is working its way down towards the floor, and your right hand that's gently pulling it, what you're going to do is you're going to take this left elbow that's up here, and you're going to resist that movement. So the right arm is working diligently to open into the stretch. And then what you can do is you can take that left elbow and go, but I don't think so. And you're going to create just a little bit of tension. And breathe. And notice that if your body starts to shake here, that's fine. Might get a little bit of wiggle, a little bit of wobble, that's fine. Your gaze is ahead, or it's down towards the floor, whatever feels best. And then release that. Inhale, bring yourself back up. Release the arms. Notice how you're feeling now between the left side and the right side. So let's do that again. Inhale. This time I'm waving at you with my left arm, my left hand. You're going to wrap that around your right wrist. Take a deep inhale. And exhale, gently shift the hips over to the right, and now allow the torso to move towards the left. Okay, and this left hand is gently working that arm over towards the left. So I want you to take that right elbow and just go, I'm going to resist you just a little bit. Okay? And breathe. And notice how everything feels on this side. Beautiful, you guys. And again, if you get a little bit shaky, that's fine. Deep breath. Slow breath. And then gently let it release. Let the arms down. Feel the shoulders relax. Okay. Now, we haven't talked about our neck or our cervical spine. The way the neck is configured is that it's meant to bring your chin towards your chest, so it's meant to flex. Gently bring it up. You can interlace your fingers behind the head, so cradling the occipital ridge. Shift the gaze up towards the ceiling, so it's meant to extend. Bring it back up. You can bring that right ear towards that right shoulder. It's meant to laterally flex to the right. Inhale up. It's meant to laterally flex left ear towards left shoulder. To the left. Bring it back up. It's meant to rotate, so a no motion to the left, to the right. And it's also meant to circumduct, meaning that you can draw a circle with your head and your neck, moving in both directions. Okay. We've got a whole lot of movement through the neck. Okay. All right, so next piece. What I want you to do is face your chair. So grab your chair if you don't have your chair. Okay. And what we're going to do is we're going to bring the left leg forward. Okay. All right. Now, we're going to give you a couple options. Those of you who have grumpy knees, if you're not liking this right now, feel free to place your fingers on the forward edge of the chair. You can curl underneath the toes and lengthen the leg up. So feel free to do that. If that feels like that's too much work, bring the knee back down. Okay? So what we're going for here is making sure that we're stacking the knee and the ankle, right? And that the pelvis, which is facing forward, can just gently move forward. It's just gonna deepen in, right? So we're starting here, and then as your body allows, we're just gonna allow the pelvis to move forward and down. And breathe. Deep, full breath. Now, I'm going to change sides just so that it's easier for y'all to see. So this is still the left leg in front. Pelvis is still moving down. I want you to take your left thumb, you're going to place it approximately where that 12th rib is. Inhale, lengthen with that right arm. I'm waving at you with my right arm. And when you're ready, exhale and focus on keeping the pelvis moving forward, but gentle twisting through the rib cage. And gently bring that right hand to the outside of the left thigh. And notice, in order to make it comfortable for your thoracic spine, while still keeping the pelvis forward, how much twist do you actually have? Okay, you guys, this is a really popular twist in a lot of yoga classes. So it's important that I want you to really find, if you're just using your upper thoracic spine, what really does feel comfortable. Okay, gently unwind that. Hands come back to the seat. What we're going to do next is you're going to step this left foot back so that it's about a foot away from the legs of the chair. Curl underneath those right toes. Step up. Side step your feet out so that they are wider than hip distance. So now what we're going to do is we're going to focus on our center of gravity. You're going to bend into the knees, and I want you to push the sits bones to the back. Okay? So pelvis, sacrum, sits bones, they're moving to the back. Arms are going to rest on the chair and let your top of your forehead just very gently rest right there on the top of the chair. Take a moment here. If your muscles are starting to go, holy crap, squeeze gently through the glutes. Notice how that changes the body position. Breathe. And then gently release. Bend more deeply into the knees. Walk the hands back. Now you're going to take this left leg and you're going to step it back. Take the right leg, because you've got your hands on the seat of the chair, so you can do this. Step it forward. Take yourself into the lunge and then gently, gracefully come down onto the knee, onto the top of the foot. And now you're here for the second side. Okay, everybody got that? So again, with this right leg forward now, hips are still moving forward, but just notice how this side feels versus the other side. And I'm going to change sides again just so that we can see. Okay. All right, so starting here, hips are going to slide in. And again, this time I want you to take this left hand, bring it to that sweep point. Now that we're here, now that the hips are gently moving forward, can you feel that furrow through the lumbar spine? That's the secondary curve moving towards the center of the body. So find that approximate 12th rib point. Inhale, lengthen the left arm up. And again, you're going to create the twist above your thumb. So gently, slowly twist and allow this left hand to come to the outside of the right thigh. And breathe here. Hips are still moving forward, but just notice how it feels when you keep the lumbar spine stable and you're just moving from the top. How does that change the practice for you? And breathe. Gently, slowly release. Inhale that left arm up, coming out. Hands are going to come back to the front of the seat. First, you're going to begin by pressing the hips back slightly and pull that right leg back slightly. Curl underneath the left toes this time and gently step that foot up. Now, I want you to step your legs back a little bit more. Now we're about 3 to 4 feet away from the chair. Again, Allow the feet to be slightly wider than the hips. Bend into the knees. Press hips, sacrum, sits bones, they're going to the back. Lengthen through the fingertips as you stretch and open through the top. So now we have our spine in a space of tension, meaning that we're gently stretching the space in between the discs in the vertebral column. So we're just opening a little bit. Breathe. Again, take a moment. Squeeze through the glutes. Notice if that is a nice adjustment and feels a little bit better, more stable for the body. Last part of this, you can take your neck into flexion by gently tipping the chin towards the chest. And breathe. Gently, slowly release. Okay? Let the hands rest on top of the seat and gently walk the feet forward. Okay? So we have this nice traction. Now what we're going to do is we're going to play a little bit and focus on a forward fold. And we're doing it this way because we've got a lot more support if we do it this way than if we do it on the floor. And I'm going to change camera angle. So one moment, please. Here we go. Okay. Camera angle. Here we are. So what I want you to do is get nice and comfortable. Depending on how your femoral head sits into your pelvis, you can keep your knees a little bit more narrow, or you can open them up wider. So please take the space that feels best for you. Normally when we sit on our chair, I encourage you to sit only so that you've got the sits bones just at the very front of the chair seat. This time, go ahead and sit back just a little bit more, just to give yourself a little extra stability. Okay? So what I want you to do here is take your hands on top of your thighs, okay? And you're going to begin by sliding your hands down all the way to the front of the legs. And then bringing your hands forward. Now, this is a great opportunity to let your head and neck hang. However, if this does not feel comfortable for you, because we're creating some tension, we're creating some space in between your cervical vertebrae, right? So stretching the discs a little bit. You can also take your block and gently place the top of your forehead on the block, which is going to give your head and neck just a little bit of support. So there are options. But the first thing I want you to do here is notice that because we're on the chair, it's very easy to feel this flexion and this opening into the lower lumbar spine, okay? Especially if you are tight through the hamstrings or you have a tight lower back or tight through the hips, and trying to do a seated forward fold is like your least favorite thing to do. Doing it from the chair can be really yummy because you've got lots of support and it helps you isolate into your back. So from here, I want you to, again, we're going to play with our head and our neck. I want you to do a gentle no. So you're going to draw your chin all the way up and into the chest. And then gently let it release. So we're doing flexion extension. And then we're doing a rotation. So turning your head to the side, making a gentle yes. Turning it to the other side. And just take a moment to notice if you have one side that's tighter than the other. And then just draw a gentle circle with the top of your head. moving in both directions. And notice if drawing a circle through the top of your head in this position feels easier and more fun. And then come back to neutral. Take a moment to notice how this feels in the low spine. And then here's what I want you to do. Hands come back up to finger pads. So you're making your little spider hands. Gently press down through the fingers so that you can get your spine and your back so that they are again horizontal. Keeping your head in a neutral position. So it's not hanging and it's not overextended. It's just neutral. Pause here. Breathe. And then you're going to go ahead and let your left hand come up on top of your knee, your right hand come up on top of your knee, and gently press down again through the palms so that you can bring yourself back up. Notice how taking it in stages, how did that feel for your low back? Okay. Did it feel a little bit better? All right. One of the things that happens when, unfortunately, when we get a little bit older is that our fascia doesn't slide and glide as fast as it normally does. So it's called creep. Our rate of creep slows down. So when we try to move too fast, the body's going, hey, wait a minute, I can't do that. It usually hits us a little bit more in the morning, right? When we haven't done a lot of movement, so things are not quite as hydrated, than in the afternoon. Okay, so here's what I want you to do, because we've got this chair here, and I want us to do another twist, right? But now we've got the chair, so we can use it as an assist. We did keeping the hips straight while we were coming from our lunge. Now, since we're on the chair, I want us to slide and glide with the chair. So hands are on the hips. I want you to slide and glide that right hip back and that left hip forward. Okay? So this time, if you want, you can place this right hand and bring the back side of the hand to the back, because you'll be able to feel, and just notice what happens through the lumbar spine as you make this twist. Or if you're comfortable, you can drape your hand across the back. So take what feels best. Deep inhale, lengthen into that left arm. And as you exhale, gently twist yourself round and allow that left hand to come to the outside of the right leg. Oh, yummy. And just breathe. And take a moment to notice right here how the body feels. And if it feels comfortable, you can continue the rotation through your head and your neck. Deep, slow breathing. And if you choose to pause at the top, feel free to pause at the top. And then gently, slowly release this left arm. Bring it back up. Slide and glide your hips back to center. Okay? Now we're going to do one more. Slide and glide, and I'm just going to change the chair. Slide and glide this time, bringing that right hip back, left hip forward. Okay? Again, if it feels good, you're going to take this left hand, bring it behind, deep inhale, lengthen, and exhale. Oh, you know what? I messed it up. I'm so sorry, you guys. My bad. I'm going to just come square. Woo! Okay, here we go. So let's see. We did, yeah. All right. So this time it is, right? It's right hip back, left hip front. Did I do that right? Somebody give me a thumbs up. This is what we're doing this time? No. Okay. Right hip forward, left hip back. Yes? Thank you. Okay, good. Got it. Goodness, y'all. Thank you for keeping me honest. All right, here we go. So this time, I want you to take that right hand, bring it back behind, lengthen into the left arm, Exhale. No, I did it wrong again. Good God. Jeez, oh Pete. Here we go. Left hand, back behind, right arm up. Whoa, my goodness gracious. And exhale, twist. No, that's not right. It should be this way. No, all right, sorry. I got Rocky going, no, 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 no. So I'm following Rocky. There we go, and twist, breathe. Good God, where did my brain go? Brain. Slow, steady breath. Okay, notice you guys here, what your lumbar spine is doing and where you're actually feeling the stretch. Where are you feeling the muscles engage? Where are you feeling the muscles lengthen? And notice that this is coming from muscle, not coming from the spinal column. Gently, slowly release. Inhale, unwind. Bring it all the way out. Okay, I'm sorry. I haven't biffed it that badly in a long time. Okay, there's one more thing that I want us to do, you guys, and this is around triangle and twisted triangle, okay? Because these two, it's like, oh my goodness, you guys, they're really awesome postures, but I want to make sure that we all stay safe while we do them. And then we get to lay down. So again, you're going to use your chair, okay? Because it doesn't have to be a big movement, all right? So you're going to take your left foot and you're going to place your left foot underneath the seat of the chair, and you're going to take your right foot and bring it back. My zafu's in the way. Okay, right? And so your right leg, toes are either going to face straight ahead or you're going to slightly pigeon toe, unless you are dealing with sciatic issues. In that case, allow the toes to hang out and away at an oblique angle. Okay, all right, this is your sassy hip posture. So the hips are actually facing forward, okay? So I want you to shift that right hip out. Notice that as I shift that right hip out, it throws this left side of my body forward. So I just place my hand on the seat of the chair. I'm already there. And then I lengthen the right arm up. Breathe. Squeeze into the glutes gently, lovingly, and breathe. Okay? Now, in order to do twisted triangle, so that you can really think about your spine, the first thing you're going to do is you're going to take this right hand and you're going to bring it down. Take a moment to notice what you're doing with your spine just as you do that. So the first thing I want you to do is, rather than keep this right leg where it is, I want you to take a moment, bend into the left knee, and hop that right leg out towards the right a little bit more. So the first thing I want you to do here is shift so that the pelvis is now square and the front part of the pelvis is facing down, okay? Can everybody see that? So the next thing that I want you to do is, you can do this from having your hips square, but what's going to happen is that I want you to take this left hand again, place it on that T12 point, and I want you to only twist coming from the thoracic spine. So you're gently going to very gently twist towards the left, but you're coming from the thoracic part of the spine. And you're trying to keep the pelvis square. Gently, slowly bring yourself out of that. Now, if your body says yes, what I want you to do is, just like we've been doing before, you're going to take, and then let me change sides here. Okay. I want you to take this left hip and come, so right now everything is square. I want you to bring this right hip up. Does everybody see this? This is square. Bring this right hip up, which is going to, bring the left hip up, which will bring the right hip down. Okay? Now I want you to take this left hand again and feel along the lumbar spine. Can you feel the difference by shifting through the pelvis, how this changes everything through the trunk? Now you can lengthen twisting gently to the left, and bring that left arm up. Beautiful, you guys. Okay? So again, this is not a right or wrong. This is just simply another way. Gently come back down. Again, I want you to take a moment, square the hips. Left hand comes back to the T12 point. And again, gently twist. So you're keeping pelvis square, and you're only twisting through the upper portion of the back. And just notice how that feels. Okay, release it, come back down to square. Now, one more time. Take this left hip, bring it back and up, and allow that right hip to drop down. Then play with how that feels. Hand can come to T12, and now twist from that space. Arm come out and up. Good. Everybody feel the difference on that. I know we did it twice, but I wanted to make sure everybody felt it. Gently release. Take a moment here. Shift the legs back, bend into the knees, lengthen. Press that body weight back through, all the way through the hips, into the sacrum, into the sits bones. You can play with your shoulders. You can either have them up towards your ears, or you can slide those shoulders down along the rib cage and create space for the neck. Chin tucks up and in. And then gently release. Okay, here we go. Doing this on the left side. Oops. Okay. Right, so this was left leg, right leg front. Coming back up. So we're going to start with triangle. So the right leg now is in front, hips are open. Left leg is strong in back, toes are either pointed forward, slightly in, or slightly out. Breathe, feel this nice and openness. Hands to the hips. Shift the hips deep to the left. And notice this time that it takes that right side and brings you all the way down. So all you have to do is place a hand on the seat of the chair. Okay? If you feel to the back, you've got nice long lines coming from the pelvis up the spine. And then just simply lengthen that left arm up. Beautiful, you guys. Awesome. Beautiful, beautiful. Good. All right, next stage. You're going to take this left hand, bring it down. Before you make any further movements, I want you to feel that if you keep heel to heel, how does that feel through the hips? Okay, if it feels comfortable, you can keep your feet there. If it does not feel comfortable, I want you to bend into that left knee and just step that left foot out a little bit more to the left. Now, stack again through the hips. Notice how that feels. Okay, you guys? So we're just being really careful with the spine. So this first point, take your left hand, bring it approximately to that T12 point, right? And now twist above it. So you are twisting through the rib cage, okay? Hips, pelvis are still in neutral, still facing forward. So the only thing that's happening is that you're twisting through the thoracic spine. Notice how that feels. Gently release it, come down. So this time what I want you to do is I want you to take this right hip and you're going to bring it up and allow the left hip to drop, okay? And notice on your back how that feels. Then just gently wrap the upper torso up and lengthen and breathe. How are we doing, you guys? Beautiful. Love that everybody is taking lots of time. Right arm gently comes down. Pause here. Again, Reframe, making sure that the hips are parallel. And then this time allow the right hand to come to the T12 point and gently twist around the T12 point, coming up, keeping the hips as square as possible. Release that. Now I want you to take that right hip, draw it up and back, allow the left hip to drop down. Again, feel the spine, T12 point, wrap around and open. Breathe. Right arm is up in the air, gaze is upward. Beautiful, you guys, awesome. Let it release, come down. One last time, hands come to the seat of the chair. Step the legs back 3 to 4 feet. Bend into the knees, sink the center of gravity deep into the sits bones, into the sacrum. Lengthen the arms in front. And breathe. Find that traction. If it feels appropriate, squeeze through the glutes. And then gently, slowly release. Okay, you guys. So from here, because we've been using our chair and we've been twisting an awful lot today, we're going to do our final Savasana. If you choose, this is your option. You can do final Savasana with your legs on the chair. If you'd rather not, and you'd like to do traditional Savasana, please feel free to do that. Gently bring yourself down. Let your arms come by your sides. Take whatever props you need in order to feel comfortable. Let your eyes close, your body relax. Take a moment of gratitude. My gratitude is for you guys to allow me to get to do this with you. Thank you oh so much for being here. Let your eyes close. And just to make sure that we've really worked everything from bones to skin, wherever you are, I want you to let your eyes close and bring attention to your lower body. And we're going to just make sure that there's no stress remaining in the lower body. So take a deep, full inhale coming from the bottom, going to the top. And then as you begin to exhale, I want you to squeeze tightly everything in the lower body. So I want you to squeeze your feet, squeeze your toes, squeeze the glutes, squeeze the legs, squeeze the calves, squeeze, and then let it relax. And feel that relaxation move through the entire lower body. And now making sure that we have no tension left in our upper body. Take a moment. Take another deep inhale coming from the bottom, going to the top. And at the top of that inhale, I want you to squeeze, clenching your hands into fists, squeezing the shoulders tight, smushing all of the muscles through the face, working deeply into the core of the body. Tighten everything down, and then relax. Feel how effortlessly your breath moves through your body. Feel how effortlessly your body softens into the mat. And feel how effortlessly your mind is at peace. Allow your body to breathe you. Please give your body this reward. You've worked your entire practice for this posture, this space. Gently begin to find your way back. Start with your fingers and toes, hands and feet, and allow each and every part of your body, your hands and toes, fingers and feet, to make gentle movements. And then use that to bring awareness up through the legs, into the arms, back into the breath, taking a full deep inhale and exhale through the nose. Massaging your entire body from the inside out simply by being mindful of your breath. And then when you're ready, if it feels good, you can bring your arms up over your head to stretch. And then gently take your legs off the seat of the chair and draw them high into your chest to give yourself a gentle hug. And then when you're ready, gently roll yourself onto whichever side feels best and most natural. One last time, bring your hands to prayer, thumbs to rest at the heart point on the sternum. Guys, thank you so profoundly much for being here today, for allowing me to be part of your practice. I honor the divine in you that is the divine in me, that is the divine in all of us. Namaste, and may the blessings be. Okay, going to stop